in this place, accommodation is very competitive. Accommodation is like crazy is the word. And so we started early enough. I actually searched for accommodation for over 1 month. Like, I just thank God that I started it, because in my mind, I would not have thought that we look for accommodation for 1 month and I will not get. Hello, welcome to my channel. So if this is the first time, you're welcome, and if you have been following, then thank you for following us so far. Okay, so in this video today, I'm going to be talking about tips to move easily. Accommodation in the UK, it's not easy. So recently we moved, and really, it was actually like a very stressful period for me. And it wasn't just, like the physical stress of, move your load, leave one house and go to another house. No, the mental stress, in getting a house, the tension and everything. So I was able to learn some things from my experience. And then I feel like it's something that should be able to help someone else. Okay, so the first thing is, number one, before you even move, the moment you know where you're moving to, I think the first thing is ask questions. So look for, people who live in that area. Find somebody that lives in that place, that you can connect with, that can tell you how things work in that place, especially in terms of accommodation. So for me, so I was able to get early on time that in this place, accommodation is very competitive. Accommodation is like crazy is the word. And so we started early enough. I actually searched for accommodation for over 1 month. Like, I just thank God that I started it, because in my mind, I would not have thought that we look for accommodation for 1 month and I will not get. When they were saying it, I felt they were exaggerating, because where we moved out from, it was so easy to get that place. But then it was later I now understood that where we are coming to, there are not so many houses, because it's not a very big community. And then they now have a lot of people moving into that, town. I don't know the reason why. But it's like there's been a lot of movement into the place. And so for accommodation, it's actually like crazy. So when we started our journey, like the moment they're advertising the house, and then the next thing you're already applying, and then by the time you're calling agent, the next thing they're telling you that you're like number 20 something. So you even hear like you're number 50. That number 50 something person that is making an inquiry about this house. And I'm like, Kilo J, the house that they just posted this afternoon. How come I'm number 50 something? Where did all the 50 people come from? On top one house. Okay. So that one is very, very important. So please ask questions, find out early on time. What is that location? How is accommodation in that location, so that you can start, your preparation early ahead. So the second thing is, when you're actually looking for accommodation, don't just say, okay, don't just choose some selected places. This one, I don't think there was any agent, like any housing agent, that we did not reach on top of this accommodation thing. Anyone that posts like this, we are there. All of them, Flint and Kuko, all of them. We actually reached out to all of them. So there are some sites like Zoopla, Rightmove, that they just advertise different, accommodations. But then the extra thing that you can now do is, when they advertise this house on Zoopla, then you can apply there. But also, as you are checking Zoopla, you are checking Rightmove, and you are checking Spare Room, and you are checking, all the other places. Another thing that you also have to do is check the website of those agents, because sometimes those houses would have been advertised on their own website before it gets posted on Zoopla. Sometimes Rightmove is going to post before Zoopla. Sometimes Zoopla will post before Rightmove. But many times it's already posted on their own website. In short, some when you see an accommodation they will tell you that you have to go and register and fill a form on their website. You get. So it's not just Rightmove, Zoopla, those particular what are they called now? They are called the letting agents. Those letting companies, you know, go to their site, go, and go and look for and go and search for accommodation. Go to their site and search for accommodation. Then another one that we actually emphasize is, so we made that mistake. We kept checking Zoopla, Rightmove. We were checking all the websites of the different letting agents. We were doing all sorts of things. But then I don't even know how we missed out open rent. So because for open rent, there is no agent. Is you and the landlord directly. So some persons have reservations because the truth is, if you fall into the hand of a not so nice landlord, you're on your own. No. So that's why sometimes people prefer, let me work with an agent that is going to be like a middleman between me and the owner of the house. So, but on right move is just you and the landlord. So that one is the Lord will guide you, Sha. But then we actually got to a point where it was obvious that we were not going to be able to meet up, and then just luckily for us, we checked open rent, and our current accommodation was actually gotten from open rent. Like the accommodation we got was actually from open rent, and you won't believe me that day that we applied, my husband was like the number 20 something, she 22 or 21 person that was making inquiries on that house. And by the time it was the same application. By the time I was finishing my own application, they said they already have too many persons and they cannot give me slots to come and view house. So thankfully, my husband applied earlier than myself. So he was like the last, I guess, the last person that he was just like, okay, we'll just push you in. You get like, we'll just try to push you in, but after you, nobody else. So actually, what I'm basically trying to say is check everywhere. You get, don't just say okay, this. Check everywhere. You get like search everywhere. Everywhere they advertise accommodation in that location. Just search. Just keep searching until you find. I never get tired. I actually got to a point where I was actually tired that I would see accommodation and I don't feel like applying because I'm just discouraged because I'm like, after I apply now, at the end of the day, tell me fill this form, after everything, you will not I will not hear anything from you again. It was actually that bad. So the third tips is that, okay, depending if you are in like my situation where I'm serious, like when I say accommodation is crazy, crazy is actually an understatement. Like it was really bad. Like it was really, really, really like bad. So we got to a point that, a family of three, we started going for 4 bedroom houses because this is it. For the smaller houses like the 1 bedroom, the 2 bed, especially 2 bed, is like everybody wants to get a 2 bed because 2 bed is just convenient. You get like you have a child, you're single, you get 2 bed is just like a house that a lot of people want to live in. So in this, like when we were searching for accommodation, we saw a lot of 2 beds, but we noticed that most time for the 2 beds, there are actually always a lot of people who are making inquiries about the same property. And because they are also cheaper, compared to the 3 bed, the 4 bed, a lot more people can afford them. So a lot more people will inquire. So when we knew that, okay, we were not going to have any chance with 2 bed, then I don't know, my husband is just one wise man like that. And he was like, babe, let's just leave 2 bed and go to 3 bed. Oh. Me, I'm thinking about money in my head, but I'm not thinking about other things. All I'm thinking about is, babe, 3 bed. Hey, the rent is going to be higher. Oh, this one, all that. And then, but thank God he did because eventually we were now searching for, because initially we started with only 2 bed. We're just searching for only 2 bed. Later we had to increase to 3 bed. So we started searching for any 2 bed, 3 bed property, that is not far from, where we work and everything because we don't drive. So, and because we have also heard that the transport network is really poor. So we know that we cannot live somewhere that is too far away from our workplace. So we just knew that we had to get somewhere. So we kept, applying. We kept looking anywhere around, somewhere that is not too far because, of course, we are doctors. We probably do night shifts, sometimes we do twilight shift. You get so, and because transport network is poor, you can't depend on a bus, and even down to taxis is terrible. This is the first place that I know that you will call a taxi, and the taxi will tell you, oh, they are all booked until in 4 hours time. Like the day I've never heard it before until I got there. That was my first day in this town. And I heard it, I was like, Kini, Kilode, you are telling me that I need a cab right now. You are telling me I have to wait for another 4 hours to get a cab. I was just like, I've entered one chance. Yeah. So we just, all of that, we also guide you in, in the process of the accommodation. So because if we did not know that transport network is bad, and then we carry the mentality of where we are coming from, where transportation is relatively okay, we'll just come and we'll go and get a house that is like 30 minutes away from work, and then to now go to work, we now become another wahala. You get? So all of that. So I knew we cannot live far away from my place of work. So we had to start looking for 2, 3 bed. You get? At some point, we're like, okay, as long as we get a house where we can move in and we can live and we can afford to pay, we are moving. So my husband even graduated to like 4 bed, but that 4 bed, me, I was just shouting, babe, please, babe, please. But then I now noticed that even some of the 4 bed was actually like cheaper than even some 3 beds. So basically, what I'm trying to say is increase, like, don't just say, oh, we are a family of two and it's just 1 bed we need. It's just, you can actually just upgrade small. That okay, fine, you need 1 bed, but can you afford like a 2 bed? Then start searching for 2 bed, because at the end of the day, it might be 2 bed that you will get because you will not get the 1 bed. So for us, that was what happened. So we got like a 3 bed when we actually were planning to get a 2 bed. But now looking back, and I'm like, oh, we should have actually gone for a 3 bed, because I actually like the fact that we have 3 beds. That like we have a 3 bed apartment. So the fourth tip is actually the more the rent, or the more expensive the rent, the lesser the number of people that will inquire for that house. So I noticed that most of the houses that we actually got viewings for were houses that they were expensive. And because they were expensive, a lot of people will not inquire because of the price. So that money, that price alone would have, it would have weeded out some category of people. So it will now be people that they know that they can afford to pay this money that will now make inquiries about that house. So most times there won't be plenty people that you have to compete against. So it will now be, because I remember there was one we got, but it was expensive, and I told my husband that babe, that I like this house, so but really this house is actually expensive based on the other things that we want to do. And by the time we are investing this amount just for rent, we have not paid for light, we have not paid for other utilities, we have not, that by the time we finish, what will remain of our salary? So that was even what me I was thinking about, and I was like, please, let's not take the house. So we rejected the house. But eventually, at the end of the day, we're now regretting, because we're like, if we had known that just because of the wala we did, you get. But overall, now, like looking back, I am actually glad that we did not take that house, because what we have, 3 bed, is cheaper. It's a house, and it's well located, like the location is awesome. You get, like it's just like everything that we want in a house, you get, and it's at a cheaper cost to that other one. So even the difference between the price is enough to take care of our utilities, for the month. So what I'm just basically saying is that if you can afford it, please go for houses that are a bit on the high side, because that way it will reduce your competition, and then you will be able to compete with lesser people for those houses. The last one is, if you know anybody in that community, you can actually tell them to, maybe through their group or through their own associations or connection, or by being in that environment, if they can actually speak to us. Because we heard of some guys that, okay, they are moving out, so they just introduce a new person to their landlord that, if you don't mind though, this person is interested in this house, and so they are moving out. It's just more like they bring another tenant for their landlord. So sometimes the landlords don't mind, and as long as you're going to take care of my house and you're going to pay my rent, then I'm fine. So people actually sometimes get accommodation through recommendations like that, and also because, okay, this person took care of my house, so I'm sure that whoever you're bringing is somebody that is as reasonable as you get. So that too is another option that you can actually that you can actually explore in terms of getting accommodations. But really, my last experience of accommodation, I think I just told myself that I hope I don't have to go through this again. You get, like, it was really stressful because um we already gave them a deadline, like our former accommodation. We already gave the letting agent a deadline. We already gave them like the 1 month. We informed them 1 month ahead because we felt okay, we will get a house in 1 month, you get. But then unfortunately, the 1 month elapsed and we did not get house. So we had to move to a temporary place. We had to stay with a family friend, and then eventually we now moved from that place to our new place. You get. So it was actually very stressful and it was expensive too. But it was better than being on the street. It was better than being on the street. So, but we also got to know that if we had known early on that okay, we will not be able to meet up in that 1 month, there are some agents they don't actually mind. They can actually allow you to pay for maybe if it's an extra 1 week or extra 2 weeks, they can actually allow you to pay for that rent instead of you just not having anywhere to go to. You get. So, but we didn't know about that. By the time we got to know about it, it was already too late. I think they had already given the house to a new tenant at that time who was going to move in after our deadline expires. So I think this is just what I really have to say. I hope you have been able to gain a thing or two, from this discussion. Okay, so till I see you again, take care. Bye.